When you discover who you are, there isn't anything that can sway you to be anything different. Mm-hmm. If you're a singer, I can't tell you to sit out here and sell fish at the fish market.
Right.
It's just not going to connect. And no matter how much I try and tell you that, no matter how much I try and force that on you, when you know who you are, you can be like, that's not me.
Yes.
That can't be me.
Yeah.
Because I know who I am.
Welcome back to the podcast. It's a journey. We're traveling. And my name is Catherine, storytelling and taking y'all on these trips. It is absolutely a love of mine. And I was trying to keep it calm, y'all, but I am truly excited about this trip that we are about to embark on. On today, we are going to the island of self-discovery. And I'm so excited about going to the island of self-discovery because, you know, self-discovery, it's arguably the most important thing that you can ever discover in life. Learning about ourselves, it truly sets the tone for our lives. And now we chose to go to the island of self-discovery because of all of the beautiful similarities between an island and self-discovery. For instance, when you get to an island, generally, what are you doing? You're typically exploring, right? That's what self-discovery is. It is all about the exploration of self. And now, where are islands normally located? They're normally completely disconnected from the mainland, right? Like they isolated somewhere off into the cut. Well, I'm going to tell you, the best ways to be able to self-discover is to disconnect yourself from all the external factors and be able to go inwards. And finally, where is all the buried treasure hidden? It's normally hidden on an island, right? Let me tell you, J. Crew, you got all this treasure up inside of you. And self-discovery, it is the excavation of that treasure. And I could not be more elated in who we have helping us find more of the treasure within inside of us. Tour guide in this episode, I got my therapist, Miss Miesha White. And let me tell you, she comes through with a treasure trove of souvenirs, not only because of her expertise, but also because she chooses to extend so much of her personal journey with self-discovery. So I am not going to delay this trip much more. This is part 1, and it is all about the why of self-discovery. Now let me set our trip up. We are headed over to this island where it is an 85-degree type of day. The birds are just out there chirping away. Crystal clear blue turquoise waters all around us. Crew, it is a vibe. Now, let's head over to this island. So on today, I have to tell you all like how incredibly excited I am. I have on my glasses, so let me just let you know, like I'm ready to learn something today. And I got on my tropical pants, so we're going somewhere today. J. Crew, I am just happy to be able to have this person with us tour guiding this episode as we go to the island of self-discovery. Miss Miesha, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. No pressure. Very excited.
It's just going to be a conversation. So here's what you need to know about this woman. I am blessed to be a benefactor of your gifts, your talents, your expertise, your genuine care for people. It is a godsend. I am so grateful. I am truly grateful. So I'm looking forward to her bringing that expertise, her gifts, and that genuine love that she has for people to this trip as we go to the island of self-discovery.
Wow. Thank you so much for your kind words. I mean, it's weird hearing people talk about you, but
okay, because she always fueling me, so I'm so glad we got you over here blushing today.
And blushing as much as melanin blushes. No, but I would agree with you that it's been definitely a divine connection. And although I am your therapist, let me state for the record that I am still in the process of of getting my licensure, finishing up schooling and whatnot. But, COVID turned everything around for a lot of people. And yet still being able to use my gifts, use what I feel to be my calling, to be a blessing to other people has been such a blessing to me. And so I thank you again for just trusting me with this process, with your own personal process, and inviting me to share with you and all of the other viewers how they can begin their own process of self-discovery.
Ooh, y'all ready? I'm ready. I got my notes. Okay, so I'm gonna let you continue in that vein with who is Miesha White?
Wow, yes. So I saw this question, and a couple of things. I'm going to go over some very broad and generic things that, as a disclaimer, obviously every aspect of these particular characteristics does not 100% apply to everyone who identify with these things. But first and foremost, I am a Black woman. Very proud to be a Black woman. If you're into like the whole personality types, I'm an Enneagram 9. They are known as the mediators, the peacemakers, often go into fields such as counseling therapy. I'm also an INFJ. That's also a very rare personality type within the Myers-Briggs. They are people who are known to be kind of reserved, but they're compassionate. They're able to empathize with people, but also often fade into the background. And so even when I feel that I am able to be my best is when other people feel that they can be their best. And so I find myself in a lot of supportive roles, but because of the support I offer, I often find myself also in the front, albeit I would rather not be in the front at times. But I don't deny that sometimes the experiences that I have had, the knowledge that I have gained is worth sharing with the world. There's a wonderful saying. I did a missions project in Honduras, and there was a wonderful saying that one of the missionaries said. He said, we've heard that if you give a person a fish, they can eat for a day. You teach them how to fish, they can eat for a lifetime. But then he tacked on to the end of that, you teach them how to teach others how to fish, and you can feed a nation. And that has stuck with me. And it's like I've gone through my own experiences of trauma, and I've had help, and that has helped me live the best life that I can possibly live. But I've also now learned how to teach other people how to walk through trauma, how to heal, how to embrace their authenticity so that they can live the lives that they are meant to be. And when they catch a glimpse of that, when they get a taste of that, they can't help but to share that with other people. And so I'm seeing worldwide change happening here with just being willing to have a conversation with people with where they are, to help them see that where they are is not where they have to permanently be, that they're in control of their journey. And that when they take that control, they can go to places that they can never even imagine, as I'm learning for myself. So I ventured off of who am I, but that's what I do.
But that's what you do, and that is who and that is so much of who you are. Like as you were talking, yes, like you are there to listen to me, but the way that you pour into me, like after I get done dumping, she let me go, she let me dump, but then afterwards, like you just pour, and I think that's such an incredible component because not everyone necessarily gets that, like when they're in therapy. I've never been as committed to the process as I've been with you, but I've gone to therapy before. And I can just say from like that particular experience, I'd be walking away feeling real fueled after one of our sessions. And that wasn't always my my ending with certain things. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to listen, but then at the same time support somebody in a way where you're actually pouring into them.
Absolutely. And when people experience sessions with me, and every person is not going to click or connect with me, and that's totally fine. In fact, I often encourage people try out others to see what's going to be a good fit. That's similarly to how we've approached life. We've been given something, and that seems to be the only way that we think we can do things. But when we're able to venture out and explore and see, is this for me? Does this fit? Then we're able to kind of tailor make our own life experiences and journeys. And I found that for me in my sessions with my clients, I want to create a safe space for them to just authentically share and be who they are.
Sure.
I know that some people, they write notes, and I'm like, just off the cuff, off the top of your head, where are you right now? How are you feeling right now? And we are so used to having to package things that sometimes we don't know how to just authentically be ourselves. But then once we pour and once we empty, then it's a privilege of mine to be able to then just pour back into, to invest, to really pour water on the roots and the seeds that we're sowing so that we can produce a really great harvest of seeing change, of seeing healing, of seeing transformation. We can only do that if we really cultivate that vineyard that we have, that we've been given.
Cultivate the vineyard, girl. Cultivate it. I think that's a perfect segue into what is self-discovery. I know it's loaded.
That is such a loaded question. It is really the process of just becoming who you're meant to be.
Yes.
And the beautiful thing is that process never ceases. Every time that we wake up and we are able to experience a day, we don't know who we're going to encounter. We don't know what type of circumstances we're going to have. And we like to control things and plan things. We wake up, what's the weather going to be? Because then I know how to dress. And if for some reason we don't check in and we feel ill prepared, that can really hinder the rest of our day. Imagine when, as we try and control other things, what am I going to do? Who am I going to be? Who am I going to marry? What kind of kids am I going to have? What type of job am I going to have? We like to control and plan these things out. And that's not to say that planning isn't a part of the process. It's very much so a part of the process. But holding those plans loosely for the inevitable mishaps of life that are going to happen helps us to be able to first be rooted in, this does not define who I am. Yeah. If I decided I want to wear a sundress and it's raining, so be it. I'm going to get soaked. Those are the reactions or the consequences of my decision, but it doesn't change who I am as a person. And yet, some of those experiences that we have in life, they're very defining, and they can influence how we see ourselves. And so going into self-discovery is to take away the characteristics, take away that you're a teacher, that you're a wife, that you're a mom, that you're a sister, and say, who am I as a person?
Yeah.
And so as you're able to discover who that is, you discover who you are. And when you discover who you are, there isn't anything that can sway you to be anything different. If you're a singer, I can't tell you to sit out here and sell fish at the fish market.
Right.
It's just not going to connect. And no matter how much I try and tell you that, no matter how much I try and force that on you, when you know who you are, you can be like, that's not me.
Yes.
That can't be me.
Yeah.
Because I know who I am.
J. Crew, if you are enjoying this trip and you have not already, I would love for you to like and subscribe so that you never miss a trip. And we can continue to grow our community. Now, back to this trip. So what is the importance of self-discovery?
The importance of self-discovery, I think it really gives purpose and meaning to life. I think that's a question that a lot of people ask, like, what's the purpose of life? And I find that many people will have different answers and responses. But for me, it is to authentically be who you are, to grow and develop into who you are, to make an impact in the world around you. As simple as that answer is to a very complex question, I think that's what most of us end up trying to do, figuring out who we are. What do I want to do? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? When we can find out who we are, then we can easily navigate with purpose and identity and impact on the world around us.
Yeah.
And I think that is the importance of self-discovery. Otherwise, we have clones, we have robots, we have an homogenous group of the same type of people just walking around doing things. We don't have color, we don't have life, we don't have music, we don't have diversity, we don't have anything. And so the importance of self-discovery gives us an opportunity to figure out, this is my place in the world, and this is how I leave my impact in the world around me.
Absolutely. I completely, I'm right there tracking with you, because it's to know yourself. Are you a sports enthusiast?
To a degree, yes, I am.
Okay. I feel like you have absolutely no idea how to play the game. If you don't know the rules, you're never going to be able to play it well, right? And I think it's the same thing when it comes to our life, where if we don't know ourselves, how are we able to live as our optimal self? And I think, to your point, self-discovery is all about the exploration of really getting to know ourselves. And in knowing myself, being able to identify why I'm being triggered. It's all through that exploration of self-discovery. Having, like you said, those characteristics, knowing who you are allows for you to just like, am I tracking with my value systems, with my purpose? Like self-discovery to me is just this beautiful compass and this lens in which we can just really just navigate our life in this way where we're really just making sure that we're doing things that are going to serve Catherine, that are going to best serve Miesha.
Absolutely. And staying with the sports motif, I see myself in the role of the coach. Now, in other people's lives, I'm not getting on, let's take football. I'm not getting on nobody's field to take no tackle for nobody. But as the coach, I have a very aerial view of things. I can help strategize the plan. Like if you are a running back and your job is to grab the ball and run toward the end zone, my job is to help you strategize how you're going to do that successfully. We've seen many players, whether it's football, basketball, soccer, whatever the case may be, that can play really well, but can't play the game.
Okay.
Like it's like, just give me the ball, I'll run it. And I'm like, it's more than that. It's more than that. And making sure that you have the right coach, making sure that you're on the right team, making sure that you're understanding what the ultimate goal is. Because if I'm on a team, I can't be out here for myself. And even when we talk about self-discovery, who's around you? Who's a part of your team? Who's your coach? Who are the people that you're willing to play with? Here she go with her notes.
Oh, no.
Who are the people that are on your team?
Who your team? Who's supporting you? What it look like, J. Crew? Who it look like?
Indeed. And as we see it in the sports, there are people that this is not the right fit for me. This is not the right team. This is not the right coach. We're not gelling together. I'm not playing at my optimal. And so I need to move around. As much as I may have a commitment, and we see it all the time, they'll commit to one team. That year will go on and we need to have discussions. We need to have negotiations. Where am I going to go next? Because this isn't serving me. I think sometimes our problem is we commit to a team and we're with that team for life. Let's say it. The Detroit Lions. We are faithful to a team.
I heard we doing good this year.
But it's still the beginning, okay? But we have been faithful to a team that hasn't played that well over the course of a few decades, shall we say. And yet,
just a few.
we are solely committed to that team because we got history there. But what does it mean to leave that team? To find a team that's going to best serve us. And, it's not everything fits with this particular motif. I mean, because we aren't actually the players, we're observers. But if we're staying with the same sort of theme, if I'm solely committed to a toxic relationship and I can't leave that toxic relationship, then that's all that I know. That's what I accept. That's what I receive. That's the scope of my hope for my life in the future. And we're fearful of stepping out of the norm because we don't know anything else.
Yeah.
If we're so used to the storm, we don't know how to live in the calm. If it's not chaotic, we're triggered with peace.
Yeah.
Because we're not in chaos.
Come on.
And so when someone is helping us try to live in a state of peace, when we discover that, I'm always wanting to have an answer because I always felt like I wasn't good enough, when someone comes to me and say, I don't need it, we don't know what to do because we don't know who we are. That's an uncomfortable place for us. The island of self-discovery is uncomfortable.
It is work, okay? It is work. That work not only is so incredibly valuable, but everything that it teaches you about yourself. My pastor says it's not that it gets easier, you just get stronger. And having that resistance, right, by doing that work is what's ultimately going to ensure that you are building the strength. And just going back to your point in terms of being able to kind of recalibrate if I need to and switch up teams because that particular team may not have been serving me or allowing for me to be at my best. That's all a part of me knowing myself. Because if I don't know myself, how do I know if this is necessarily good or bad for me, if this is what I want or what I don't want? But I would hope one could recalibrate a little bit quicker because they're sensitive to the fact that, this isn't me, right? Like this isn't what I align with. This isn't what I roll up to. I know myself and this is not me.
Absolutely. And again, this is not an all absolute thing. This is not, I started something, it's not working, I'm out. It's after you put in the work and the dedication, after you've trudged through the trenches and figured out, okay, this is not my fight to fight.
Right.
Then go on. The other side of that coin is we don't like to put in the hard work. We're looking for the easy route. And technology has helped us. I mean, back in the day, we had to do a rotary phone and wait till it rang. And if somebody else was on the line, we had to wait until the line became free. Now we have instantaneous access with our phone.
Yeah.
We can connect to anything in a moment. And so now we hear wait. Mm-hmm. Now we hear work and allow time to have its perfect due process. We don't have time for that. I don't have the patience for that. And part of our discovering is allowing everything, however old you are. I'm getting ready to turn 39 next month. In 39 years of life, I cannot in a month's time undo everything that's been put on me that I've learned in 38 years.
Sure. It's an unthreading process.
Absolutely.
And you have to give yourself grace and space for that unthreading process. Now you were talking about the things that be easy. See, that's what I know is about that other side, that enduring, you know? So where I have to check in with self is because I know how to endure. A girl I can outlive a season, I'm going to tell you.
Listen.
But like for me, it's checking in like, okay, like in that enduring space, like, is this now working for you? Or is this not working for you anymore? Is this serving you in this season? And so, but going back to just having that, being open to the process of self-discovery, because ultimately self-discovery then leads to self-awareness. And now that's where I feel like, okay, you know, you're accountable. The responsibility now kicks in because now you know.
Absolutely.
So let's say if we aren't in that phase or in that space of self-discovery, how is that ultimately impacting us? How is that showing up if we don't want to, or if we're not open to self-discovery?
One thing I will say is that life is so gracious to always provide moments where we can pivot. It's like driving down a road. We have all of these maps. You know, if I'm trying to go to a particular place, I have to go down certain roads. And we are, I believe, just natural beings of wanting to experience life. Trauma aside, we want to experience life. And so life will always provide us those pivotal moments. And some of them are traumatic. Some of them are coming to the end of a relationship or losing someone that's really, really close to us, or other traumatic like experiences, to have you be at a pause and see a crossroad. How we navigate through that is actually how tired of you with where you are. I didn't need to tell you to come to me to see if we can work on you. You got tired. You got overwhelmed. You got weighted, and you said, I don't want this anymore. Life is going to give you that. And it's being willing to take that risk, to take that step of faith to say, if I don't want this anymore, what do I need to change? There are some people who find themselves, again, let's go to toxic relationships. There's a moment they always ask, why didn't you leave before? Why didn't you try and get away before? And it's like there's that endurance, there's that hope that maybe if I'm good enough, if I am worthy enough, they'll change. When you realize you aren't responsible for the actions and the behaviors of other people, none other but your own. And then it becomes, well, does this benefit me? Is this where I want to be? Again, life, that crossroad. Then you make a decision. Then you begin to evaluate what's around me. How do I get there? I don't know. But with anything, maybe we Google, how do I get out of a toxic relationship? How do I change my career path? How do I become the person that I really want to become? Life will give you that opportunity. Are you ready to take it?
What do you feel like is the thing that is hindering us the most from taking that step and getting into that space and just kind of getting that hunger for self-exploration?
Fear. And fear dominating everything about us. Mm-hmm. We have faith and fear. Mm-hmm. And whether you're a religious person or not, you have faith and fear.
Yeah.
You believe in something, even if it's like, oh, I don't believe in God. Well, then you believe in the laws of nature or something. Whatever the case may be, you have faith and fear. What do you feed? If I put 2 dogs...
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I feed the dog of fear and I'm, oh, but what about this? And what if this happens? And if I do this and this happened? Or last time I did this, this is what happened. I continue to feed that dog. My faith dog, I don't give it anything. So when I come against a situation, my fear is stronger than my faith. And so fear often prevents us or hinders us from actually taking what we need, steps of faith, to begin to see the pivot and the change in our lives that we want to. And fear is something that the world kind of cultivates. We see those commercials like, do you have diabetes? Well, take this pill. Well, and then there's this list of, could known to cause this and this and this and this. And you're like, well, daggone, do I take the pill or do I just die? I don't know.
What are the benefits?
Exactly. We run the narrative of fear is what motivates a lot of different things. You don't want to potentially go to the hospital and not have insurance. So we make decisions based on that. Or during the whole pandemic thing, no one knew what was going on. And there were so many different people trying to tell you what to do to try and lessen your fear. But actually what it did was it fueled it.
Yeah.
Where was the faith talk?
Mm-hmm.
Where was we're going to be okay. Yeah. We're going to be okay because we're going to work on this. We're going to work together on this. It was millions are dying every single day. There wasn't anything encouraging me to embrace and live life. Sure. And so when we're trying to discover ourselves, it's, you're too old for that. Mm. Or where's the security in that? You change that career, you're going to be homeless and living on the street. You see them people down there. You hear those stories. Where is all right, take your time. You can do it. Put in the work. You can do it.
What is primal in us, right, is what has allowed for us to survive like 2.5 million years is the fact that we were able to make it back home. So there is something primal in us in terms of finding our way back home and making sure that we are in spaces that are familiar and comfortable. There's so much fear in the unknown. And so it's like when you're going on that exploration and you're embarking, you have no idea what's on the other side of it. Something amazing is generally on the other side of it, but you don't know. And so your body, your mind is just kind of conditioned. It's primal in us, yes, to want to evolve, but then it's also primal in us to want to survive. So it's like, what does this unknown look like? Is it dangerous? Like, what does that look like? And so it's innate in us to just kind of want to stay in an environment that is safe and that is familiar and that's comfortable for us. And to your point, it's like it's all about becoming and allowing for ourselves to get uncomfortable. India was all about getting uncomfortable for your girl. So, but that's where I discovered so much about myself. That's when I truly learned the value and the art of not giving a fuck, was in that space because I had to learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And part of that comfort comes from, as you said, the familiar, because with the familiar, we have more control over it. Mm-hmm. I know what because of my experience, I know what I can expect when I travel down a particular road because I'm familiar with it. I've done it. I know how to avoid certain spots. I know the time of day even of when to travel down a road to get to my destination the quickest. It's when there is construction or there's an accident and there's a delay and there's a detour. I've got to follow the signs now because I don't know where I'm at. I could be trying to go to the same place, but because of an interruption, I now need to embrace the unfamiliar. I don't have a choice. And so, I may know the particular roads, but with that detour, I need Google Siri, whoever it is on the phone to tell me, in 3.5 miles, turn right. And I got to trust that that's going to get me to where I'm going. It's when we don't have that. How long am I on this road? I don't have a GPS for life. I've got to trust that I'm heading in the right direction. And that helps me because of perhaps things that I'm expecting to see in the change. If I'm fearful, I'm expecting that as I'm investing in myself, that there are certain situations that are going to come up that used to make me afraid that are no longer going to make me afraid. That can be a checkpoint for me, and I'm still on the journey.
Absolutely. Do you think one of the other hindrances is that people just don't necessarily like to take accountability because that means that ultimately they have to take responsibility over a thing? And it's like some people just enjoy like living in these spaces like ignorance is bliss.
I think that also has something to deal with we don't really understand what accountability actually means and the benefit of it.
Tell me.
Because
what do you mean?
When we're accountable to things, because let's say something. Let's say that I have a goal that I want to lose weight. That is a real goal. Okay. If I'm not accountable to that, I don't achieve my goal. We're not taught that accountability helps us get to the place where we say we want to go. Accountability is such a heavy and a negative term. We think punishment, we think shame, we think guilt. And these are the things that we want to avoid. So no, I'm not going to open myself up to accountability if all I'm going to hear is, I told you so. If all I'm going to hear is, see, you didn't do that enough. I'm going to avoid that. Who needs that? Not me. But when I hear accountability is, okay, today we didn't meet our goal. Tomorrow is a new day. What are we going to change? I'm invited to continue the process of discovering and bettering myself based on the goal that I set. We need that accountability. And yes, ignorance is bliss because we can then justify our actions based on what someone else has said and what someone else has done. And the responsibility is off of our hand. But in reality, we forfeit the ability to be in control of who we become. We put that in somebody else's hands. Tell me what to do. And it's a juxtaposition because I don't want anyone to tell me what to do and yet tell me exactly what to do. How do I get out of here? But I don't need you to tell me what to do. And it's like, which is it? Okay? Which is it? And when we heal and finally figure out, it's beneficial to me to have accountability. It's beneficial to me to walk in spaces and with people who have taken the risk and know this is going to be a hard journey. But if I can do it, so can you.
That's why you got to have a good accountability partner. I have a great accountability partner. My accountability partner is actually the one, we were walking around the track and she starts talking to me about her therapy session. And as she's talking to me about her therapy session, she's like, yeah, and then she ended it with homework. I said, homework? Hold on. You got homework. Now, mind you, when I was probably up until I hated homework, but I don't know why, like, that was so triggering in a good way, why I was like, ooh, tell me more about this homework. But my accountability partner is the one who introduced me to Miesha. And, but it's so great to be able to have, like, to your point, like, those people to be able to support you on the journey. And speaking of Miesha's goal, we're not gonna stay there too long because she looks amazing. But my accountability partner is also in the health and wellness space, and she teaches these amazing yoga and fitness classes on Saturdays and Sundays. Mm-hmm. And so her birthday was the other day, so we were all out to dinner celebrating her. And in celebrating her, she was telling Miesha, like, okay, as you gonna roll up. So our Saturdays generally look like this. I'll go to her 8:00 in the morning class. If I'm in Chicago, it's 7:00, so it's a little harder then. So I go to the 8:00 Zoom class, and when I'm here, we've been following up with yoga, and then after yoga, we do this 2-mile walk to get something to eat because we deserve it. And so she had invited Miesha on this Saturday exploration, this Saturday voyage that we take. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really just great to be able to have like those kind of people that not only are going to hold you accountable, but that really track with you. You know, those people who are in alignment. And I think that's one of the reasons why her and our relationship has just been able to sustain the way that it does, even though at times we're living in completely different spaces and cities, is because like every time I check in with Nicole, like every time I check in with my accountability partner,
name drop.
You know, like she's just tracking. Her trajectory is just up, and being around that it's so edifying. Like to your point, like what are you eating? You know, like what is feeding you? Because everyone's gonna be hungry, right? Yes. Like we gotta eat, but ultimately, what are you eating? What is feeding you?
And I saw something beautiful the other day when we were at dinner. I saw two women that have gone through some pretty traumatic experiences in life come to a slight misunderstanding. It wasn't anything major or whatnot, but took the moment then to just clear the air, to just say, look, if that's something that you feel, please let me know. I don't want to ever to do anything. And I saw this back and forth exchange of two women that are healed and trusted the process to be able to see we don't want this little mishap to hinder the relationship that we've been investing in and growing in. That's when we want to talk about evidence and signs of actually discovering oneself. That was beautiful. That was so beautiful to see because it didn't turn into an internal dialogue, an internal narrative where we voice not only ourselves, but the thoughts of other people. She probably think X, Y, and Z. Our inner thoughts will keep us in bondage in ways that we cannot even imagine. Baby. But you didn't keep it internal. Neither of you did. You both put it on the table. You were both vulnerable and honest. And were able to come to a resolution that benefited the both of you all for the progression of your relationship. And just kept on with the dinner, kept on eating the risotto. And I said, I don't think they really understand what just happened here. People live for interactions like this and can't because we're so afraid, because that fear again that we've been feeding. It's not going to work because it didn't work for so-and-so or it hasn't worked for me in the past. That ability to step out in faith and to discover who you are opens the opportunity for you to actually receive and experience the things you dreamed of.
Thank you for observing and coming to that conclusion, because she's such an important person in my life. And so I'm blessed to have that accountability. But again, it goes back to self-discovery, knowing what you need for yourself. Mm-hmm. And when you know, like, in ways in which to hold yourself accountable. I know how to incentivize myself. So anytime me and her like are trying to do something new, like whether it's me waking up at 5:00 in the morning, me trying to like be in my writing bag, me trying to drink more water, I'm like, okay, I got to send you my check marks. Like, here's what I need to work on. And I need to send you some check marks. I need you to hold me accountable. And so because I know like how to incentivize myself through just this exploration of self-discovery, and I'm holding myself accountable to those things, now I'm able to arrive at these places. But if I hadn't been open to this journey of self-discovery, I wouldn't know any of this.
Let me ask you.
Okay.
What was the point where you realized something had to change?
When I think back to like the choices that I'm like, ooh, it really is because in those seasons, I like self-discovery and self-awareness was not at the forefront. Mm-hmm. You know, so now I'm making all these decisions that ultimately just were not serving me or weren't necessarily working for me the best way if I was true to myself. There are definitely things over the course of, you know, these seasons in my life where I have been more intentional about self-discovery, right? So like obviously getting into therapy was me being more intentional about self-discovery and ensuring that I'm unthreading things and that I'm embedding the things that are going to serve me. Going on my LCA, my life-changing adventure, like at the core, of that was all about self-discovery, God discovery, and discovery of people. And so I know, like, in having self-discovery, like I said, as this huge pillar in my life, like, I'm able to just quickly recalibrate, a lot quicker and a lot easier than if I didn't have that, as the central theme in my life.
And I think even that, having that as a central theme, comes as a byproduct of the experiences that you've had in life.
Sure.
I often believe that some of the things that we're very, very passionate about, particularly in the ways that we make contributions to the world around us, are the things that we ourselves didn't get a chance to experience. So even for myself, being a listener and being someone willing to walk with people in some of the most traumatic times and seasons of their lives results in really desiring that for myself and a time and a space where I didn't have that. I had to figure out how I was going to do this. And then I say we have these I will never statements of these very defining moments. I say I will never make a friendship with someone and they not be seen or heard. They would be lied to. I would be authentic in my friendships because I've experienced what it's like to have fake friendships and how devastating it is. And when we have those moments, those turn into our pivotal, our defining moments where we're like, okay, something else has to happen because I can't keep going on like this.
Yeah. How is self-discovery showing up in our relationships?
I think it's understanding that the person that you meet is also a consistently evolving person.
Yes. Equally yoked. Right?
That's why it's important. That's why it's really important. Yeah. And it's important that you identify someone that is willing to grow with you. And it doesn't have to be the same thing. Like, we both have to be entrepreneurs. Like, no.
Right.
But if I'm trying to go places and you're trying to stay, there's going to come a point where we're going to clash.
The road. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have to figure out, okay, what are we going to do differently now? How are we going to address this? We get in a relationship with people because we like them where they are in the version of ourselves that we are in.
I hope y'all got that one. Run it back. Can you run it back? Can you run that one back?
Take two.
Please. Let them know one more time.
We get involved with people based on where they are and based on where we are in the moment, in that particular stage of our life. Not understanding, or at least not acknowledging that I'm not going to be in high school forever. What I was attracted to in high school, oh, he's got a car. It's a beat up 98 Chevy that his grandfather gave him, but he has a car and no one else does. That's not going to appeal to me as I get older.
Right.
And it's not because it's the quality necessarily of the car or what have you, but it shows how are we growing and progressing and moving in life. And again, not the tangible things. Oh, now I'm driving like the latest, Thunderbird or whatever the case may be. No. It's that this has helped and served me for where I was, but for where I'm going, I need something else. I need something more. Are you coming along with me? And if you're not, then we have to have a conversation that is going to be, again, I love this word, dissonance. Yes. There's going to be a disconnect from where you're trying to go and where they are. And then that's where we get the fighting. All you do is sit at home. What are we really trying to say? I'm tired when I come home, and I want to be able to come home to a place of peace and a place of rest, and I'm coming home to conflict. Why?
And I think, listen, let me tell you, when you know what peace is, when you have discovered peace, you ain't letting nobody take that away from you.
No, not at all.
It's going to be a long and hard fight before I let you take my peace away from me, because it took me so long to get that, to acquire that. I don't think as easy as one can obtain it, a lot of times it's not easily attained.
It's not easily obtained because we don't know what it looks like, and we don't have people that are willing to show us how to get there for that. Again, it's going back to how can you ask someone to love you when you don't know how to love yourself? How can you have hope in someone else being your peace? That's a lot of pressure on another person when you yourself don't know what it looks like, what it feels like to be at peace. Because then I can just tell you it's peace. Like, is this what peace is supposed to be like? Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess so. But when I began to discover, peace is I can have conflict without fearing that I'm going to lose something. We don't really have that. If there's conflict, there's always that fear. Is this going to be it? That's oftentimes why if we backtrack, I don't want to bring this issue up, because I don't want to make them angry. Because if I make them angry, they're going to leave, because that's what daddy did. So I won't say anything. I'll just firm it up. I'll just survive. And I'm telling myself that that's enough, because at a time I needed that to be enough. You know, listen, if you ever want to hear a really great story on survival and then living.
Tell us.
Look at a person, her name is Corinne Ten Boom. And she would often talk about different experiences, often with people from the Holocaust, with how those people that were standing in the furnaces as the troops were coming in, thinking this is going to be it. You can't tell them that they don't know what peace is, because they also know what trial and tribulation is. When you're able to distinguish the two, when you're able to say, what I'm in right now is a storm. Let's look at weather. Let's look at actual storms. First of all, there's usually evidence of a storm coming. You can look up and say, it's getting really cloudy over there. It's getting dark over there. It's real bright and sunny over here. Over there, it looks real dark. Something's coming. How you respond to that? Are you going to ignore it? Oh, I already paid my money in this interest fee, and they not about to kick me out now. Well, then you can't be mad when you get drenched. You can't be mad if later you catch pneumonia because you weren't properly prepared. Learning how to identify when storms are coming. Then you can begin to figure out how you endure the storm, but then you also got to figure out how do you live after the storm. Some of us stay in storm preparation mode. Okay, I got my umbrella, I got my raincoat, I got my mom, whenever there was a tornado watch, okay, not even a warning.
What mama do?
All she had to do was hear that there was a tornado watch. We in the basement. We got our blankets, we got our radio, our anagram radio and all of that, analog radio rather, and food. We ready for to be housed and locked in for days. And we would stay there until she felt it was safe enough to be able to come out. Sometimes for hours, we would tell her, the watch is gone. Why are we still hiding? Why are we still in survival mode? Why are we still waiting for a storm that is no longer coming? And then a storm will pass. How do I live? I can come out the basement. I don't have to try and stay in survival mode. And so when you know what storm is, you can then know what peace is. When I'm able to identify that that's a storm, then I know, okay, if not that, this is what peace is. And so then let's go back into getting into romantic relationships. Somebody can't tell me that they love me when I know what love for myself looks like. They can't tell me that I'm going to be your peace. If every time I'm with you, it's a consistent storm. Where is the peace? And I cannot make someone want to have peace with me. I can't wait. I can't sit here and say, okay, we got a flight at 3 and we got to get to the airport soon. Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I can't blame them for missing my flight when I waited.
So what I hear you saying, we have to know it for ourselves.
And that means you also have to know what it is not.
What it is not. We need to know what it is, and we need to know what it is not.
Absolutely.
When I think about the best relationships or how to better a relationship is through communication. But if I don't even know myself, how can I communicate to you on how I need you to show up, how I need you to support me? You know, going back to what you were saying, sometimes we're allowing for other people to kind of guide our lives, especially when we don't necessarily know ourselves. It's easier for us to get tossed to and fro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when we recognize that, and when we begin that that process of self-discovery, that journey of self-discovery, and then we mature and developed. It's kind of like the snake that sheds its skin. We can't go back.
We can't go back.
We can't go back.
I hope you don't go back. Don't go back. Don't go back.
Honestly, you won't be able to. And if you did, you would feel so at such a dissonance with where you are.
It is. It
And
really
it's
is.
no shade to anyone who, when you go through certain things and you grow and you know your worth, somebody can't come at me with a wad of 50s like, I can make your dreams come true. Like, sir. what is this? Has this worked for you before? And for some people that may. It's like, whoa, okay, make my dreams come true. No, it's not money. I need your attention. Mm-hmm. I need your heart. Mm-hmm. I need your genuine investment and love for me. Yeah. Money we can make. Money I can make.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's not what's going to entice me. But at a time when I didn't have, at a time when I didn't believe that I was worthy of that type of investment, that would have appealed to me. That did appeal to me.
But you know yourself.
But I know myself.
You know yourself.
And again, traumatic experience. Not being engaged and not being married. That's a traumatic experience. That's a point where you have to say, what happened? How did I get here? And where do I go from here? And it was like, they said, I will never have to wonder what someone's love and posture towards me is ever again. Now, sometimes that hinders us, okay? Because sometimes it's like, I'm not sure, if what you're saying is really authentically what you feel. But again, that's talking about what we feed. That's fears talking. I'm afraid of being hurt again. And so I put up these barriers and I put up these particular things that I think are protecting me but are hindering me from actually living life. But I'm safe. So I'm okay with that. If I'm safe, if I'm content, if I can survive.
I can make it home.
I can make it home. But survival is not my goal anymore. Living is.
Come on. We ain't here to exist. J. Crew, we're not here to exist. We are absolutely here to live. We are here to live. Okay, so okay, I want to, I'm committed now. I'm committed to the journey of self-exploration. Miesha, where am I starting? Like, what does that look like?
Wow.